Now it's time to wrap it all up with coconut dream bars. So you've got coconut cream pie blended with a key lime pie in terms of flavor and texture, but yet it still is a bar. And that means I have to start it with a base, typical to everything I've been making. A nice plus with this recipe, it happens to be gluten-free. And that's because I'm using coconut flour in the base. I need 1 cup of coconut flour. Only a little bit of sugar, 2 tablespoons. And let me grab the 6 tablespoons of butter that I've already melted. And it won't come together like a dough. It'll be a rough, crumbly texture. This would be a great gluten-free option to a cheesecake recipe. A cup of sweetened flaked coconuts. Generally, when I use coconut in baking, I like to use sweetened flaked coconut. And since I'm making bars and squares, well, yes, I have a square pan again, 8 inches. I've greased it and lined it with parchment. And I just press this into the pan. And this only takes 10 minutes to bake in a 325 oven. Once it's baked and cooled, you really see that it has a nice set to it. So now it's time to make the first of the 2 fillings. This is the rich and creamy coconut lime layer. The first ingredient I'm adding to my pot is a full tin, 400 ml of coconut milk. I also add a full tin, 300 ml of sweetened condensed milk. And it adds just the right amount of sweetness to this recipe. And to thicken it, I don't use eggs, but I rely on 6 tablespoons of cornstarch. You always want to add your cornstarch to a cold or room temperature liquid, not to a hot liquid. So that's why I whisk it in first. When you're cooking a cornstarch mixture, because there are not eggs in there that cook quickly, you don't have to whisk it constantly, but definitely regularly. I am going to add lime zest to the recipe, but I'm saving the lime juice until it comes off the heat. I was inspired to make this recipe for my dad. His favorite 2 pies are coconut cream and key lime. And one day I offered to make him a pie when we were on holiday and he couldn't decide, so I just put the 2 together. To fully activate the cornstarch, you want it to come up to a full simmer. So this really takes about 6-7 minutes. You'll see it goes glossy. You'll see a couple bubbles pop through. The heat brings out the lime. I can smell the coconut. Now I'm ready to take it off the heat, and I add the last few ingredients. 1/4 cup of fresh lime juice goes in now because I don't want to cook away the freshness, adding it too soon. And I'll add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste. And I'll add just a splash of coconut extract. And then lastly, a cup of that sweetened flaked coconut. Whisk that all in. And while it's still warm, transfer it to the cooled base, because it will set up. It slices so beautifully, just like a cream pie slices. So to top this layer, I'm going to put on fresh raspberries and a whipped cream layer. Now I want to be able to slice these dream bars really cleanly, so I need to stabilize the whipped cream. I use gelatin to do that. So the first thing I do is I measure 3 tablespoons of cool water into a pot. Then I have to bloom the gelatin. And what that means is I add my 2 teaspoons of gelatin powder and just let it sit for a minute. You can use agar powder in place of the gelatin. So as that sits, I can take a couple minutes and arrange my 2 cups of fresh raspberries. Because I'm being fancy about these bars, I'm taking the time to arrange the berries nicely. That way, when you cut through the bar, you'll see that profile of the raspberry. Oh, just looks so sweet. So by now, my gelatin has softened up. And to melt it, you just need to heat it on low heat. As soon as I see this is clear, I know it's fully dissolved. Okay, so now for the whipping cream. I measure 1 3/4 cups of cream into my mixer. Now I'll start whipping it on high speed, and when I start to see peaks just beginning to form, I'll add 3 tablespoons of sugar, but then I'll stop the mixer. There we go. Now I see I'm starting to get some volume in my cream, so it's time to add the gelatin. And with the mixer going, I'm gonna pour it down the side of the bowl. The beaters will pick it up and work it into the cream. Go. And let's fancy up the flavor of that whipped cream with a little bit of vanilla. And if you're using coconut extract, well, you might as well add a little in too. Another quick mix. We're all set. If I were to dollop all of the whipped cream in the middle, well, when I started spreading it, it would move the berries around. So I just take the time and dollop on the cream a little at a time. A little offset spatula makes handy work of getting it level and into the corners. This is looking polished as is, but why not even take it to the next fancy level, adding a little pattern. Take your palette knife and then just draw a pattern in there and just keep repeating that pattern. You want to give this time to set in the fridge, that way it slices cleanly. And here it is after it's been set. Pull it out of the pan. So even the fanciest square, you slice the same way. And kind of like a cream pie, you get big, generous servings here. And isn't that dreamy? A little bit of raspberry sauce dresses it up, really makes it a perfect plated dessert. A couple of extra raspberries. And just to remind you that layer upon layer has coconut, a little toasted fresh coconut. And there it is. Oh, that coconut shortbread base, the creamy coconut filling with the lime accent. It's absolute perfection. Ooh, it's so soft.